Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. My talk will be what Brazilians and Germans can learn from each other, and especially it's a lot of things about me because 25 years before I was coming the first time to Brazil, and a little bit afterwards I started also my professional. So this is a bit about self-reflection. So let's start. This is me. I'm a professional Scrum trainer, part also of Happy Melly, dedicated to happiness of work. I'm coming from Cologne and I'm dedicated to on the journey. I really like my job and I really like to. After 13 years, I was not in Brazil. This is my first time I came back and I'm super happy and your country is great. In my heart, I think I'm more Brazilian than German person. So I work as an internal coach and I also give trainings independently. Yeah, I have two kids coming from, half coming from Brazilian, and I have a lot of family here, and I visited a lot of them during the last week. Very hard to go back today at night. So my agenda, what I said is, first I give a short definition of what is business agility. We have a conference about business agility. What's the definition of it? Then Brazilians continuous happiness. I taught this chapter. I will reflect something about my feelings that I have being here and my experience being here. This in relationship to business agility. And then I will talk you a little bit of Germans and German thinking and what happens in German. And not everything is so great in German than some Brazilians might think it is. And then at the end, we have some time for question and feedback. So let's start. The definition of business agility. Isn't this Bain German? So much letters. In short, what is agility? Business agility is a mindset. So very important to be agile. It's a appropriate way. Can you hear me better now? So, eu falei que, oh, desculpa, já estou começando a falar português, mas eu vou continuar em inglês. Muito difícil para mim. Thank you. So, what's the definition of business agility? Business agility is a mindset, so being agile is important and not doing agile. So, this is a little bit about my journey, how I became agile. And so, agile is about responding to change, to constantly change that we all force in the actual days. And all what is in the nature of this is delivering value to the customer, like Dave said already before. And there is no prescriptive practices, roles, and pre-described lifestyle. So you have to find out by yourself what's your best way to be agile. And all this text is coming from the Agile Alliance. So next, woo! That was very great for me. This was the time when I first met your culture. This was in 94 when I got known my ex-wife. And this was so amazing, I could tell you. I never saw something like this before. She brought me to the Brazilian community in Cologne, and we watched together all the games of the Brazilians. And after 24 years, you made it. With the help of Dunga, o alemão, não é? So what I learned is it's all about passion. I felt so much passion when I looked together these games with the Brazilian. The tension that there was when we were looking the game and the celebration and dancing and everything after the game was so fabulous. And I think what you learned from us in this case was something like discipline trumps elegance. Ne? It's not only to play good, but also to have the discipline to win the game and not only play good. So my next chapter. There are a lot of preconceptions you can think that Germans have from Brazilian or from Brazil, also Brazilians from German, of course. And one preconception is when you come to Brazil, it's hot. Yes. And I came in winter and I go to Minas Gerais and it was super, super cold, especially at night. And another preconception I had, there is one Cristo, the one famous Cristo that is there in Rio de Janeiro. But I saw so much Christos all over the places. That was wonderful. And sorry, I have minhas notinhas aqui. So Dave, I think, was totally in his comfort zone when he was talking. I'm going totally out of my comfort zone. Mas eu estou tranquilo, eu acho. So what I wanted to say is the one thing that I really recognized, this is about assumptions and validation that I wrote there, is so it's not every time that it is how you think it is, and you have to find out how it is only by doing something. Like I wrote here, you only can know what happens when you peck the tail of a cat when you do it, yes? And then you will see what happens. And what I was very liking with here the Cristo and the Brazilian way was that everyone told me on the street, fica com Deus, vai com fé. And this gave me a lot of confidence because I felt in Germany it's like God, Cristo, the church is something separated from us. It's not something real that you feel, that you have inside you. But here in Brazil, I can feel the people believe in Cristo and believe in these things, and they have this trust and can bring this to the people and get this fundamental mindset to believe in the future. And before I didn't have that. I thought, it's everything like my life, I know like it is, and it will be like everyone's life, and I don't have any chance to change something in my life. And this here then was the point that I realized I have it in my own hand, and I have the trust, and I am with God to go forward on my way. And this totally helped me, thank you very much, during the last 25 years in my personal growth, but also in my professional growth. So I think what is important from a business agility perspective is, so you should have trust, you should have courage, and then experiment, find your patterns, and go forward. And be opportunistic. So there are the chances, they will come, and then when the point comes where they are there, get them. Oh, a little bit too far. We are still in 94, and after I visited Minas Gerais, we went to Bahia, Lençóis, Chapada Diamantina. Very nice city. I love the whiteness, the nature, the people of being there, the long places. And I heard there are still fairies living there. Wonderful. And there I learned some stories about trust, because in German everything has to be planned, you know. You make detailed plan for everything that you're doing. And here, as I got to know in Brazil, it went something else. So you have trust and people happens. No? You don't plan, things happen. And I have a story for that. My wife, she had, or my ex-wife, she had a house there in Lençóis. And because she was coming to Germany and wants to live there, she wanted to sell this house. And she only had 1 week when we come there to Lençóis to sell this house. And I thought, oh, this is impossible to find a customer who want to buy a house and sell a house and do every paper stuff that is necessary to do it. And she also had no plan how to do it. And 1 or 2 days later, there was a person that wanted to buy the house. Even there are already were living other people in this house. And then this paperwork ran on, and it was the last day when we were going out, and we had to take the bus going back to Salvador, and the woman with the papers didn't come. But the bus also didn't come, of course. So half hour later or 45 minutes later, the bus came. The wife, no, still wasn't there. So the bus, after 1 hour of delay, went off. I thought, oh, what a pity. And then the woman, hey, here I am, stop, bus. And the bus stopped, she brought the paper in, and everything went well. That was so funny, and it gave me so much trust that things happen even if you don't plan everything. And that was the point when I thought, so I can be more empirical in my life than predictable, and I don't have to plan everything in front of. And I think this was my start of, as we call it, failing forward. No? And I take the chance, and I thought, I have my life under control, and the universe brings me my chances, and I will take them. So now we were here at this point. This was my saddest day in my life of football. I thought everything is planned. We had the biggest player. He won everything. We had the biggest team with incredible players. And then arrived the day of the game. I went to the restaurant to celebrate with you again. I arrived at the bar, and then Ronaldo is not on the court. Oh my God. So what I got to know from this, even if you think everything is clear and your path is clear, something unpredictable can happen every time. And this night happened. How sad. But what I learned later from that and other situations I was in, so even there is a worse situation, you can turn this into an opportunity for you and learn something from this and get better and see everything bad can be something good for you. So even there's a bad thing, inside there is something good going on. In other words, failure is a necessary step to growth. Yeah, after 4 years of suffering, especially from this guy, my most greatest football player than I know, he got it. And no one believed it. And we were so self-assurance like the Germans, and we still were arrogant. And we had this Titan, this Oliver Kahn in this goal, this unbeatable man. And every German thought, yeah, we will make it. We will make it. But I think the Brazilians had the trust and they had the humility and thought from game to game to game. And we won this championship. This was my biggest moment in football so far. Wonderful. So, no matter if you win or lose, it's only how good to play the game. And when you play the game very good, one time you will win, I'm sure. So this was the Brazilian perspective block. Now we're coming to the German block. Let me check the time. I'm already a little bit over, I think. So this is my wonderful city. This is the Cologne Dome. Every time I come home, I'm totally proud of this building. This building we constructed for over 600 years. We have another church that we done before. The construction took 300 years. And we have over 140 other churches in our wonderful city. And what I want to show you here is when you do something again and again and again, something wonderful will happen. And what is also very important, as we can see here in this construction of 600 years, you have to be committed in what you're doing. You have to have a purpose and a strong goal that you are following, and then have the persistence even if the things are not going as you want to. Go on and believe you and have the passion that you have to do the things. And of course, Germans, I think they are very expert in technical excellence. Long year, long history, we did a lot of good things. For example, here, we were the first people who invited trains, and we were the first people who invited cars. This was, I think, 150 years or so before. This made us big, but this also made us slow, you know, because we stay with it, and we didn't want to change it. Because the cars are selling so good. And for example, we were talking about 20 or 30 years already about renewable energy. But there's still the coal. We are still selling so much cars. Why count on renewable energy? So we are a little bit struggling in Germany. And it seems like we're falling a little bit behind. So beware, constant success tends to make you slow and conservative. And every time you have to think about innovation and renew yourself, that you don't fall behind. And a little bit, I have the fear that we are falling behind of Germany. But this might be good for you that you go ahead. This is the entrance to our wonderful airport in Berlin. Here you arrive our airport in Berlin. A lot of space. Here's the check-in of our new airport in Berlin. And here you take off at our new airport in Berlin. We start working on this in 2006. The first plan was to finish it 2012. 2013, there were 75,000 of known defects. And now in 2019, the plan is that this airport might open in 2020. So I thought, or still think, that they thought it's a complex problem that they're solving and not a complicated problem. And there run so much funny things, And they thought they can change everything, but on the airport, it's not such a good idea to change everything after you're building an airport. So I have here a nice other example. Oh, here. Here we are in Cologne. So we have some special words in Cologne. We even have our own language in Cologne. By the way, the only language that you can drink, Kölsch. And we have some special words. One of these is called Knüngel. And a Knüngel is a group of people who give each other advantages. And then we have Knüngelsker. These are members of these groups. And then we have so-called Fummeleurs, and these are the guys that introduce the technical depth into the systems. And here you can see our historical archive of the city with books and writings of about 800 and 1,000 of years. And we start building an underground, the metro. And yeah, there was this kind of guys giving advantages to someone else and doing the right way. In Brazil, you would maybe say, they um jeito, mas um jeito não certo. Jeitinho. To these people, 3 years of reconstructing 95% of the historical books and papers with public money, and 10 years later, the whole is still there. So, never cheat. You should know it better. This case, in our professional Scrum trainings, we call this a squirrel burger. You might know it. But then, here's another nice prototype of what we were doing. We also won the championship. I think you remember this game that was not so funny for us, that you already, after the anthem that our players sang in this passionate way, I could feel their fear in their eyes. And then after 20 minutes, ooh. But I didn't want to talk about that so much. I didn't want to show you more a little playbook of how I think the German came back to the lose in 22 to win again in 2014. So the first point was they felt a sense of urgency. They said, we have no young, talented players. And then until 2004, we were still saying the same thing. But very bad European Championship, after 3 games already out. So we had to set on these players. And then we started with new trainers, with new concept, with young players, experimenting, copying, tweeting, great things from other nations, playing good, having some successes. And then in 2014, with a great team, with great players and great management support, everything went very well, and no one could stop us. And now this cycle is starting again because we are going down again. And I'm curious about when we are coming up again and why. So I'm also nearly at the end. The time, I think, is also nearly over. So this is a picture of professional Scrum. I already told you I'm a professional Scrum trainer. So professional Scrum, being a professional, what does it mean? We have 4 elements here, the mechanical Scrum. And so first, I think set up Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide. And you can see Scrum as a jigsaw that all people has to fit together in the right way. And then you can start continuously improving your product and your way of work and do it in a disciplined way like the Germans and with a Brazilian way for improvisation. I think both is very important. And then striving for excellence, learn from each other, share our knowledge, have the Germans discipline, and go forward to be the best version of yourself. And Values and principles. I think here you're very great. Having the right mindset with mutual respect and commitment, having courage to use the Brazilian openness and spirit to grow with the principle while focusing like the Germans. And then we have the center of it, being professional. I really think with Brazilian passion and a compelling mission combined with the three outer circles, we have what it takes to be very successful and deliver outstanding products or services in our complex world. We have more 15 minutes. I thought I'm already over because it's 11:30. We have 4 more 15 minutes. So we can enter with some questions at this point, I think, and then I have 2 more slides that we can continue. It's okay? Do you have any questions for me? Yes.
Tá me ouvindo? Tá dando retorno? Tá bom. Ele vai abrir para perguntas e aí ele finaliza com os 2 últimos slides que ele tem. Alguém tem pergunta?
Thank you, Alex. Was wonderful. So I would like to asking you about when you talk about trust in business. So what can I do, of course, a Brazilian professional, to getting through? I mean, what can I do day by day to understand and show for my team to trust me, to become more confident in the business, Brazilian, I mean. So what do you recommend for us?
Okay. As a professional Scrum trainer, oh, I'm hearing me twice now. So, as a professional Scrum trainer, we say at first, trust is founded in the Scrum values, and to be open, to have courage, show respect, be committed, and having focus, and this brings trust. And then, based on this trust, you can enact the 3 pillars of empiricism, that is transparency, inspection, and adaptation. And when you have a good sense of these behaviors, of these Scrum values, and enacting the transparency and see that it works, and don't use this transparency to, how I can say it, to punish someone. Yeah, something like this. I had a lot of experience with this in the past. Then things, I think, going well. And everything, Dave also talked about metrics. And every time I say when we introduce the metrics, it's not about personal behavior. It's about the system in general that we want to improve, and not we want to measure a person. Yes?
Hi, my name is Thiago, and if someone uh, is not not like achieving the goal, but it's striving in the technical way, how to tell the product owner or search help with the Scrum Master to maybe change from change the technical way, like for example, a front end wants to become a back end because he or she is not doing well and think it's better to approach from another point of view.
So I understand that you want to know how to change people in their behavior, some kind of way that they're getting more agile.
How to expose my technical frustration and propose to change roles.
Okay. I already also started as a developer, and I got aware of agile principles and practices that was around 15 years before, and no one else expect me were doing this kind of stuff. And I think I was the example of this and showing what it brings, not by telling, but by doing it. For example, continuous integration or test first, things like this, or working together as a team, collaborative code, and so on. So I start convincing people by doing it by my own and sharing good experience with other people. And yeah, let the results count. So because you can't change people's behavior, no, they have to change by themselves. And very often it's very important to lead them and to show them why it's good. And then they come back to your point, I think. Did this answer your question? Mais uma pergunta?
Mais alguma pergunta, rapaziada? Não?
So, let's continue with my two last slides. So as Dave's slides was more about organization and agile culture, my slides were more about myself and being agile as a person. And there was a question about what's the future of Scrum? And I have two slides of this. And the question is, Scrum is only for software? I don't think so. There's a famous blog post of Günther Verheyen. He said that Scrum come in waves, and he identified 3 waves so far. The first wave was when IT development departments took Scrum as an opportunity to improve their work. And the second wave, some years later, was that whole organization started adapting, learning and working with Scrum and Agile. And then in the near past, there was a new wave when people and organizations started really being agile and not doing agile and tried to become agile and really live the agile life and lifestyle. And I think we can add this. I saw, so first working in software, and I'm trainer since around 3 years. In the beginning, there was only software guys in my trainings. And then later on, coming manufacturing people in my trainings. And I said, wow, cool. It's not only for software, it's also for manufacturing. And last year, there are also coming people from social area, from kindergarten or from schools, coming to the trainings. It was a little bit hard to explain them everything with software related to their problems, but we find some ways. What I wanted to say is, so coming back from software to manufacturing to social areas, maybe we can also use Scrum or Agile way of thinking in politicians and resolving our complex problems we are facing, like Dave already said before. So I think we are living on a complex problem, and we really should deliver valuable software or products to our people. And I hope you find your purpose and good things you want to do in the future. Thank you very much. Scrum on.